it's a historic old house,
Oh, okay.
and I've got the first floor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's a residential section.
I thought they had a good digs at Pillsbury.
I do too.
You have your bike on the road yet?
Nope, this weekend. My psycho planting habit,
Yeah.
took the entire last weekend. I finished at 4 o'clock in the rain on Monday. Yeah, I went a little bit too overboard this year. But there's no 12-step program, so I'll continue to do it.
There's no.
Love my planting. Alright, we're gonna give it one more minute. Planning's gonna have to catch up.
Maureen's good.
Thank you for the email yesterday. I was gonna go to that meeting.
Yeah, there was confusion about it, you know. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Alright, I'll assume that Chuck's not coming. Let's have him catch up. What are you doing in that kid over
Oh boy, I'm good.
In a minute?
there? Huh?
It's a long
You're
drive.
gonna get organized in a minute?
Hey,
Really?
Hey, it's starting off not good.
Good morning.
Alright, so wanted to start off with a HUD update. I do not have the paperwork from HUD yet. Haven't seen it.
That's not true.
What do you mean? We saw the thing that we had to do the thing, the
You
class.
got the email.
Which email?
You got the initial email.
Yes,
With the document.
but there's no
to sign
paperwork.
or anything.
Right, but you haven't done that
Yes, which is what I just said.
yet. Right, okay.
Okay. So I haven't got the paperwork from HUD yet, but as soon as I see it, I'll pass it along. Though I do know that our PD did fill out the paperwork for USDOJ, so they received theirs with body cam, and
Yeah.
they're all done. So ours should be coming, I would think.
So we don't know what level of environmental study we need.
So the email that we did receive had a project code, and so
Yep.
because it had a project code, the environmental reviewer could charge their time against the project, and so they got started on it. So Pete had an interim conversation with her name is Martha, and she's not going to be the project manager, but a coworker of hers is, and so we set up a doodle poll. Neil, myself, I think Judy got it now. We will have a meeting with the environmental reviewer to explain the entire project with Pete. So super nice that Pete's doing all this.
So we don't have an idea of the cost yet.
Not yet, no. We're trying to get it to be a CADX project, not an environmental assessment project.
Cool.
So, Marty, two things have occurred to me.
Just to,
So far.
I guess the most important one is that there is already been federal money in the project, and they have a finding of no significant financing.
right.
So I think that should be made very clear. I don't think Pete has even ever seen the environmental review we did for land and water back then. Not the most recent one, but the one we did back then for phase 1, feature 3.
Yeah.
So I will seek to find that, because I think Pete should have that.
You're talking about the big long one we did for EDA.
No, I'm talking about the fact that why should HUD require anything more than what we've already done? We've already made a finding of no finding the no significant environmental impact, based on the work we did for land and water 2-3 years ago.
Right.
So that should be brought up in our conversation.
So Pete, yeah, Pete definitely does that.
He does.
He does. We sent him some of that paperwork for review before we submitted it.
Good.
The other thing, it's not just state permits we have federal permits
Of
too.
course. I mean,
Um,
this
so-
should be a slam dunk.
Yes, it should be a slam dunk, yes. I'm just preparing for the worst.
I know, and it's taking forever to get,
Yes.
I did not see your name, Judy, on the doodle poll.
It was added late.
It was added
What,
after.
what dates? It's not gonna be Friday, is it?
No, I think that they picked a date already on like the 10th or
I
something.
haven't seen anything.
No, I didn't see anything either. I can look right
Pete
now.
told me that they decided on a date and hope it works for me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but they wanted somebody from the city there, so, which
Right.
I'm gonna be pretty much just observing and halfway useless. They want somebody from the city there.
Right. I did not get it. I can follow up with Pete, but I don't think we have a date.
I haven't done anything.
He definitely emailed me and said there was a definite date, and it was open for me,
Okay.
so I will do what they ask.
Yeah, of course.
The key is that the city is taking responsibility for environmental actions in the past and will continue to do so.
Yep. Got it. Yeah, and she made mention to all the CDBG projects,
Right,
which is the
right.
same thing, right? So,
Exactly.
we get it. I think she gets, we get it. We get on that subject?
Yeah, I mean, once we get, even though we haven't gotten the details yet,
You can start without me.
which we should have by now,
Good morning.
Welcome.
the HUD details and the grade off and all that stuff,
Mhm.
we know pretty much what we have to do. So the only thing that's holding us up, the narrative is completed. The only thing that's, the environmental is not completed. The budget can't be completed until we know what it's gonna cost to do the environmental work.
Right,
Then we have everything done and we can submit it.
but we got the rest of the budget done.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Well, I have some things to talk to Marty about that, but
Okay.
yes, we have the rest of
So we're in good shape. So as soon as I see it, I'll pass it along. So Jewel is here now, so I wanted
Sorry.
to move over to, that's fine, we have plenty of things to talk about.
That's good.
Move over to the City Hall Opera House project. So I recently, and I just texted Lisa to email this to you guys as well, but I recently did a cover sheet for the council on bonding.
Is the one that has the options?
Yes, with the 3 options that the architect came up with. One of the options, will actually not get us an assembly permit. So I really don't know why that was an option, so that's a problem. So, so we're going to be, or we, meaning the city and the council, should be looking at those options at our budget hearing on Tuesday night, which is the 4th. Is when we'll probably get to that portion of the budget to talk about it. However, if we don't, because I do believe we're starting off with municipal services that night, so we might not. The 17th is the next budget hearing, which we will definitely get to it at that point in time. So I don't know what day of the week that is.
That's Monday.
Okay. So that's where those are, that is, I think that there's interest in moving forward quickly, because I think that it was pretty clear that the Opera House needs to get back in. And so it'll just be a discussion between the options, I think. So, Jewel, did you want to add?
No, I just wanted to get over to, I know Dan couldn't be here, and obviously Dan knows a lot more than I just wanted to be sure, since I was invited to get here in case I could answer any questions or be here. And then I got called to a meeting, and I'm called to another meeting at 10, so I just wanted to at least scramble over here
Okay.
for a short time.
I think Dan was asking the next steps for assisting the Opera House and coming up with a sustainability plan.
Yeah, and I know that the Opera House has hired a consultant to work on some capital campaign work and some feasibility studies along those lines, so that the board can start moving in that direction as soon as we're able to, and as soon as we have,
That's Steve Ignazio,
I believe so, yeah.
and has he written a report or is it in the process?
I think it's in the process. I know there was a woman that met with us at our last board meeting to talk about, she met to talk about capital campaign work, and then this gentleman was being hired to take down another path, but that's all Dan's stuff. He hasn't met with the board yet, so I don't know exactly what he's gonna be writing up.
So is he looking at operations going forward as far
Correct.
as he is?
Yeah, and looking at bringing in bigger things and really working at, looking at the hiring and kind of overseeing the managerial part, so not replacing Dan, but really looking at bringing in, you know, what we've been talking about, moving the Opera House forward, as far as becoming a bigger entertainment venue for the city of Franklin.
Bigger as in, an increased frequency of shows.
Correct.
And potentially higher price tickets.
Correct.
Is that using an outside operator then?
You know what, I don't know the answer to that. That would be a Dan question.
Okay.
So is this person operating on the premise that you'll be able to use the Opera House from, like, you know, any time from after school on?
I don't know, because I think he's predominantly evening events. The increase in the educational piece, like we've talked about, and opening, you know, like having the dance classes and opening that educational piece and opening after school hours and having more stuff for the kids, I think that's me more than anything else. So I think this guy is more about the evening events, weekend events, and just trying to bring in higher ticket prices and more frequency.
Is his work predicated on some level of renovations of the options? Which one?
An assembly
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, definitely having an assembly permit, that has to be,
Yeah.
you can't do anything if we don't have that, so.
But is it the minimum or the maximum or what you?
That I don't
you
know.
don't know.
I don't know that at all.
Okay.
Do you think Dan would be okay if this group talked to that person?
I have no idea. I personally wouldn't, so usually Dan and I are on the same page.
You wouldn't be okay?
No, I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't care.
I think it's imperative we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a problem. I
With
don't
Dan.
wanna speak on Dan's behalf, but I don't think it would be an issue.
With Dan, we don't need to do it by ourselves.
No, that's what I meant.
Oh, yeah, of course,
It's
no.
A collaborative.
No, I don't think there'd be any reason why you couldn't.
Yeah, and anybody from the board that wants to be there.
So why don't I have Lisa send out whatever she sends out now? I don't think we usually do,
Yeah,
And
is
see if we can.
Lisa sending out the options right now?
but yes.
Does all this mean that you should tell CDFA you don't want their money?
I don't think, I'd like it, but we can't use it for the purpose for which we applied.
Why can't we? Didn't we say that we were going to get community support for the Opera House?
It was on consensus building on what level of renovation, redevelopment, whatever you call it, we should do. And it seems to me that the public has spoken in
Yeah.
city council meetings, say, hey,
Mhm.
for once, let's do something right,
Mm.
you know, and put the Opera House in the best state it can be for another.
You could. I'd hate to. Phase 2 of that was to bring on a management team and do some analysis of what the real market could
True.
support, and to bring on a professional management team to work in partnership with them. that could be, that could be recast as the consensus building. If in fact, there's the public, acceptance of whatever you're gonna do, which nobody knows yet. Instead of the consensus building focusing on what it's gonna look like, you could focus on what the Opera House program is gonna be. What kind of shows, how, you can expand the school involvement,
Yeah.
those kind of issues.
You have to keep the school and the community piece.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
sure.
Yeah.
That's the
No
number one
kidding.
priority, yeah.
And so it could focus on that, and then lead into bringing in a management team to, to do the hard bookings for the $40 seat shows that we wanna see,
That's the operator, like spectrum.
The operator, an operator by contract, or even a lessee, whatever, however terms to work out.
If we went that route, could we complete the work on a timely basis? I mean, these guys are ready to go. And I'm afraid using this grant may slow things down or ask them to go on pause until we get this thing 2 or 3 months down the road.
The construction cycle is 12 to 18 months.
Right,
So there's still plenty of time to do.
we're
And it
working,
could be done
Business.
simultaneously.
FBIEC as the grantee would be working directly with the board of directors of the Opera House and building their capacity.
Okay.
And we'd start with building a
You
consensus.
saw it.
For two things.
Maybe there's one session
Okay,
on,
then I do, yes.
does this
We
design
sent
meet
it,
our, what we need?
We all met about it, and then you and Dan got a copy.
Yeah. No, she just need to be reminded,
Yeah.
because we kind of get off on tangents. Alright.
So we're gonna have to make a decision on that.
Yeah, we gotta make a decision.
Well, do we need to meet with CDFA and just kind of say, hey?
No. We're already embarrassed ourselves with CDFA enough times.
I think we did a good job the second time.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think there's enough. I think there's enough leeway in the way I wrote the application that we can still have a consensus building, but instead of focusing on the building, it focuses on the art.
The organization.
The
Yeah,
organization.
what's the syllabus? What's the,
So that's a different type of animal, and we don't need a facilitator as such.
well, we may for one of the sessions or two of the sessions. I mean, do we want wrestling back? Ask the questions. The public should be involved. The public should fully be behind, knowledgeable and fully be behind the school programs and even expansion of the school programs if it makes sense.
We can do the wrestling thing. I have on staff a pro wrestler now.
Oh my God, probably the fire department, right?
Nope,
Oh.
other one, police.
So it seems to me that meeting with Steve Ignazio is probably the crucial first step.
I
And he may
think
be the consultant we want to hire.
Right.
He may be, but again, Dan has done some projections. Where's the meat behind those projections?
Right.
Let's run those projections by, somebody in the business and say, all right, this makes sense, but maybe you ought to adjust that,
So the work you did down in Concord and Nashua, did you use people like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's a big push. The whole point of this from the beginning was to build the capacity of the Opera House, board of directors,
Yep,
as an entity.
But
And we can still do that.
yeah.
And just sort of, instead of focus on the building and focus on what goes on in the building.
okay.
Okay. So speaking of that, before you go, I spoke with, I forgot her name, Elizabeth from Senator Shaheen's office, regarding our congressional directed spend that we put in for the Opera House, and it did move forward. And they rewrote it a little bit so we could be a little more flexible with the building. But they moved it forward out of committee and rewrote it in their, political mumbo jumbo way that they do to get it into the budget.
And what number was that?
Thirty-five percent.
35%, yeah.
Sorry. The CDS?
The CDS, yeah.
So
So it's, so they're going to support it, that's out of their committee, so they're gonna support it through the federal budget. It still has to go through
right.
all the other
The
process.
entire process, so
Yep.
it's more than a year away.
Yes,
But-
but.
Yeah, but she was just here, when was she here, last week?
Last
Yeah.
week,
And
At the high school.
she was at the high school,
Yeah.
so she was with us for like an hour. And I think between Dave Levesque and I, we said the Opera House 22 times. So it was well embedded in their mind when they left,
It's
And
less than a year away.
so.
yeah, it's less than a year.
Well, this year was March. And that was late.
Yeah.
And then we told her, said, don't forget, we applied for that, and she said, okay, I won't forget when she left, so hopefully.
So 35% of the total project. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
I think I defined the total project as 7.5.
Yes, and then we did 35.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
No.
Alright, so this thing from Lisa's going through. I have questions.
Go.
I need a minute until I
Oh.
see what Lisa
Okay.
sent.
All right, so next steps on the Opera House, ask Lisa to set up a meeting with everyone.
A private meeting, not a public meeting?
Yep. Yes, I think I can get that.
If we're gonna discuss,
Yeah.
financials, it's
Financials.
a private, not
Yeah.
public corporation, it's a private meeting.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, so just you, Dan, and the consultant?
Steve, yeah, I never even met the guy,
Okay.
so I,
If you think of anybody else that should be there, if you can let me know, and then I'll have Lisa set it up. Perfect.
okay,
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Um,
Sorry,
Sorry
I was.
about your meetings.
No, it's okay, that's how my day rolls, so I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys jumping around. I
I
just wanted to touch base and make sure
You might want to stay just for a little while longer.
okay.
If you can.
Sure, 10, I have to be back, so yeah.
Alright, so this sheet it shows the different options, the debt payments, the bond amount. What is the average assessed house in Franklin right now?
It was
310?
It was, yeah, it was around 300,000, that's why I used 300,000.
Okay.
But I can't remember if I don't think it was under, I think it was a little bit over 300,000, so you're probably right about 310.
Do you have this? This
It's
is kind
coming
of,
through.
do you have it?
I'm looking at it right now.
Alright. So am I right in saying that if we bonded the whole thing with no grants or anything else, that on a $300,000 home is $150?
Like that, if that's what the sheet says, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yes,
It's $150.
yes,
No
Annual
less.
tax increase.
yep,
That doesn't even buy a dinner out.
No, I can't even go out to eat with my kids for that.
No.
Alright, so
where are you, Neil?
Okay,
you look
Got
at,
it?
it says the 20 years, $49.60 per 100,000.
Yeah, I did 100,000 to make it easy for people to multiply out.
If it's a 30-year bond, it's even less, it's 120.
And I think it could qualify, we talked to the architects as a 30-year bond, because that has to be useful life.
Oh, sure, so you don't get in a situation like with roads where you're bonding longer than it's useful.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I know we've beaten this topic up, but, so the city count, this is how I understand it. The city council has to bond the amount, not the process.
Right.
Meaning, let's just stay with the 7.8.
Yep.
The city council, because they can't encumber future city councilors, they have to come out and say, we will pay to do option whatever, which is, in this case, 7.8 million.
it's our building, so we have to do the amount,
The amount.
total amount.
Right.
Yep.
And then after that decision is made, in theory, they would ask or help facilitate, help empower others to apply for grants,
Yes,
to reduce the overall
oh,
amount.
yes, yeah, like the CDS should too.
So
Yeah.
35%, I did of 7.5 million, but I mean, that's 2 3/4 million.
I don't think it was that big.
It's,
Oh, is it, it's 35% of the city portion, or 35% of the
35%,
Opera House
it
portion?
shows it right here, someplace I saw it.
Yeah, it shows it at 1.4.
1.4 million.
Yeah,
Why is it so low?
it was 35% of.
7.5 is more than that.
Yes. 35% of 7.5 is 2.73.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. I think.
It's not like 35% of the Opera House or 35%
It's
of the city.
35%, it's 35% of 7.5.
It's 2.7.
Yes.
I think so,
So,
I think so. Now I gotta look at it.
Well, I'll look at it just a second.
Okay.
so in theory, just on this sheet, right, when you change the congressionally directed spending number from 1.4 to 2.7,
I thought it was.
there's another 1.5 million on top of that. So we're looking
No, there isn't.
CDBG,
There's
500.
no CDBG, I don't know why that's there.
Okay.
I'm eligible for CDBG.
I thought
So
we were
there's
talking
a-
about the possibility of, community facilities.
It's
No,
not gonna work,
not gonna work?
because you charge
Fees.
Oh, got it. Alright, I'll scratch that off.
I wouldn't do all chip either, because I think it's gonna cost you more money than it's worth.
Yeah.
So, my overall point is that we have over half of the value potentially with grants, which would cut down the tax burden in half. Is that true?
Perhaps,
Yeah.
but the problem, okay, there's a catch-22 here, you know?
Yeah, and so I think the catch-22 is that the councilors have to, when they vote on the bond, the payments start coming out, right?
No,
No, that's not the catch-22.
no. 'Cause,
The catch-22 is- Let's say
right,
we,
yeah.
I'm not worried about the congressional directed spend.
You're not worried?
I'm not worried about it in terms of the catch-22. The catch-22 is this: if the council goes out and authorizes $7.8 million,
Yeah.
and then you ask, we wanna put together an L-chip application for 500,
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
and a tax credit for 500, they're gonna say, well, the council's already bonded for it, why, you don't need us.
You don't
Right.
need us, right.
Is he up to? Yeah, I get it.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
Right. The same thing happened with CDFA the other day,
Yes.
because they knew about the TIF.
Yes.
So how do we navigate that then?
You can do an up to,
Yep.
but if you're counting on, but you also have to think about the timing. So, if we're asking for $500,000 in CDFA, the application doesn't go in until March,
Right.
and the announcement's not until June, July, and then you gotta raise the money.
Right.
If you're talking about L-chip, I don't know. And I don't like L-chip, because it might add cost. What was the other, yeah.
And then CDS.
CDFA is the one that I'd be worried about.
Yeah, because we have to raise it.
Because we have to raise it, but also, we gotta say, well, we weren't really serious, the council wasn't really serious off price. We have a deficit.
We're gonna say you really don't need it.
No, well,
We had to
could
say up to.
I mean, we could say that the council's expecting X from the Opera
But
House.
you're gonna wait until
Yeah.
June to start construction?
No, absolutely not.
That's the catch-22 here, is that the
Just the
timing.
timing.
Right.
Oh, and I forgot to say that the CDS, for the Opera House is going through USDA, who loves us.
That's when we told,
Good.
that's,
Yeah.
give me a little credit for that.
I'm giving you credit for the whole thing, because you sold it really well to that guy from, DC,
Todd, Tim,
Which we owe him,
Ted.
Yes.
Ted.
we owe them an
10 o'clock.
update, once we have that, we should send them a
Still,
note.
right?
Just updating them on where we are, once we have the meeting with the HUD environmental folks.
And,
Should be, right?
Should be.
Yeah.
On top of this too, there is the opportunity for TIF. There is an opportunity for a capital campaign,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, yeah.
Well, TIF, don't worry about TIF. The council could do the whole thing by TIF if they wanted to. Why not? They could-
Increment right
No,
now.
I'm sorry, they could maximize out what's available in TIF
Right,
to
Exactly.
reduce the GO portion.
right,
Mhm.
right. But still, the total project is $150 of tax burden, worst case scenario.
Right.
If we cut it in half, it's $75. And if you cut it more, it's less.
I'm gonna tell you something.
That's unbelievable.
And if you do it right the first time, it'll last. So, yeah, it's a narrative. Were you gonna say something, Neil?
No?
Oh. I was waiting on you. So that's where we are.
So, Jewel, what we were just referencing is the first page of the city
I'm gonna
councilor's
send it to
packet.
you.
Okay.
For next Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah, the 4th.
Perfect.
All right,
I'll stop.
are we good on that subject?
I just wanna give, Marty the exact number, I got the CDS application on my screen, I'll give you the exact number we're asking for. Is I'll pass you a piece, I'll email it to you, so I don't have to hold things up here.
Okay. Great.
Is there any ARPA money left over at the state for this?
For this,
I don't know, we weren't successful in getting it, for the Whitewater Park.
Yeah, but this may be a different animal for them.
I'm not sure, because they have to be obligated by this September, I think they've already done
And
that.
spent by December, I think, and something really close.
Usually, the ARPA funds need to be spent by 9/30/26, they need to be obligated by 9/30/24. So the project has to be shovel ready and on its way by 9/30.
So that timing doesn't work.
Yeah,
Now, what about the money the Opera House already has that has to be committed by?
yeah, we're working on getting that changed over to equipment, so that we can purchase the equipment and be all set, that's the county's ARPA.
140, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something big like that,
Awesome.
yeah, yep. So we already talked about that, so they should be fine, because
Cool.
that equipment needs to be there anyway.
Right.
So, yeah,
Marty, it is 1.4, because
good, I'm glad I'm not crazy.
we can only use it on the Opera House.
And that's,
And the Opera, we estimated the Opera House portion to be 3.5, 35%.
I thought I was crazy.
No, no,
I wrote down the 1.4,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Okay,
thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I don't wanna make you late for the meeting.
no, appreciate it,
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you,
See ya.
Jill.
nice to see
You
you.
too.
So just an update on the permit extension, for the Whitewater Park. So, the DES sent me the form that we had to fill out. It looks familiar from my boat launch, so I took a stab at it and sent it to Pete Walker just to check.
Mhm.
I noticed we had both shoreland and wetland, so I did both. So then we'll send that in and, we should be hearing about that.
Yeah.
So I noticed our shoreland is like a month after our wetland one for the due date. It's in June.
Mhm.
The wetlands is in, May,
They're
but yeah.
just different departments.
Yeah.
They, It's, just wondering, yeah.
It's
still-
vibrating.
it's still raining. Because they're different departments, we got the permit approvals at different times. Right, and then the
Yeah.
extension date is, whatever timeline it was after that. That's what it's different. We submitted the permit extension.
Yes, and they said that this piece had to be done.
They changed the rules, and so,
Yeah, and they
it had
sent
to
it
come
to
from
me
you.
to do,
Yeah.
and they said, yeah. They
Which
said
permits
if
have
you're
to be
still
Corps of
interested,
Engineers
as if
and all
we
that?
weren't,
Corps
yeah.
of Engineers and all?
It's the Army Corps is just kind of a subordinated position, so they just follow.
They
So it's
follow
wet,
the wetlands,
it's
yeah.
wetlands and shoreline bureaus.
Okay.
So as soon as I get the okay from Pete, I think I did all right, I'll move that along to DES.
I talked with him this morning, he's getting on that, and something else for me.
Okay, great. Did you guys wanna talk about the redevelopment idea?
Yeah.
Go, Neil.
First step, as you know, I wrote a proposal that we circulated to several agencies. Jim made some comments on it, which were changed before we circulated it. And this is for the redevelopment fund. And so Jim set up a meeting with Brian Bozak, the president of FSB, and we met with him last. You want to cover that, Jim?
Yeah, it was a very positive meeting. He was very interested and said, thank you for thinking of this. Definitely would be something they want to be involved in. We told them they were reaching out to other agencies like BFA, CDFA, and so forth, Community Loan Fund, and he had no problem partnering with them. He'd rather, the fewer the better from their standpoint for administration.
Yeah.
And he'd be looking for first mortgages on the properties and so forth. So he is definitely a player if we need him. But
we got responses, we got responses from CRDC, which was sort of milquetoast. Positive response from CDFA, they'd like to participate if they can find a way. And a very, very positive response from New Hampshire Business Finance Authority. New Hampshire Business Finance Authority is talking about being able to do 75% at 2%.
Really?
isn't that great?
And this would be really helpful in allowing FBIDC to buy some properties and hold them for the highest and best use development. That may make the bank a non-player because the bank is gonna wanna have first position, but if the
Yeah.
Business Finance Authority is gonna do 75%, they're gonna pay for it.
Right.
So the question is who the other players will be and
That's crazy.
will they do,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That is crazy, that's
Was
really
it
good.
2%?
Wow.
Yeah.
well, they love me.
God.
So,
Somebody has.
We do.
so this is the thing, I now wanna get serious.
Yeah.
The executive director of the Business Finance Authority wanted to meet with Economic Development Task Force, and I did not invite them. Because, and this will go for all the other partners too, they're not gonna meet in a public session to discuss the nuts and bolts
Nope.
of a possible deal. It's just, it's embarrassing to them.
Yep.
And it would be embarrassing to him, to me, and to the city of Franklin to have to tell them how this whole process is involved in the political type of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, Jim and I are gonna meet with James Q. Wallace next week, and we'll follow up with a meeting of all the agencies, but obviously won't be here.
That's fine, I mean, that's the kind of work that you're hired to do anyway, and it falls more under FBIDC
Yep.
anyway,
Yeah.
so that makes
That's what we've
sense.
done in the past.
Yeah, and just, update anything we can do.
But it was a great meeting with Brian, what a new,
Yeah,
refreshing attitude and approach.
yeah, very nice,
So, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that'll be exciting for Franklin. All right, so is that it for that piece?
We're very encouraged.
Sounds
that's it.
good. Do you think that, and probably our positive experience with PCL the first time, right, helped with
Of course,
USA?
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, does anybody have anything else?
Despite the efforts of some people to undercut this process, people still want to help in Franklin.
Yeah. I agree. So, now that we've had a couple weeks to think about, and I know some of us are upset about the whole meeting process, I can tell when somebody doesn't talk to me. Anyways, so,
She's not looking at me now.
no, I'm looking across the way. So, what I was trying to get at is, do we really need to meet to do all the work we do as often? And it sounds like we still feel like we need to, but I was thinking, is it something we could do monthly, maybe, and start out that way, because the work still gets done. This is just a collaboration piece to make, kind of, and direction piece, so.
Yeah, I think the strength of the organization for us is the strategizing and brainstorming
Yes,
that you get with us meeting and getting that interchange between us.
yeah,
The execution of our plans,
right,
which is Seth is buried with right now.
Yes.
With the,
yeah,
with
the Stanley is
Stanley
taken
Mill.
over, yeah.
Right, he
yeah,
doesn't need to sit in here and tell
Yeah.
us updates.
yeah, yeah,
That's not a good use of his time.
right,
But strategizing and long-term planning and brainstorming options, I think is still a very valuable
I do too.
output of this
We
committee.
just have a lot of stuff in the air right now,
Yeah.
but we always have, I get that.
Yeah.
But how much more can we add? That's kind of what I was at, we need to take a break and catch up and do good at
That I
these
agree.
12 things, that are up in the air, whatever it was. And before we start taking on too much more. I mean, the Stanley is taking over Seth's life. And I'm not complaining, I'm glad we got the whole 2.5 million, but, it is a process, and we know that Brownsfield is a process, so.
But Schimberg's writing down, so that's, that's
Yeah.
coming to an end.
Yes, he's still, they're still working on occupancy and things there, so.
Yeah, but I mean, from our
Yeah,
standpoint.
yeah, oh, yes, yeah. So. it's
So
just
that was a
the-
big project, and it sounds like the White Water Park is,
Thank goodness.
once we get the timing of it, we still hope that's this year, this building season.
Yeah,
No way.
and then the land.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna be really
What,
hard.
we built in December last time.
I just think you have to caution yourselves about HUD. The HUD is going forward very slowly,
Yeah, I noticed,
very, very slowly. And it's just gonna be a slog.
yeah.
Mhm.
Should we reach out to this Ted guy and see if he
No,
can be some ways?
not until,
It's following what he said the first time, it's just, it just takes a long time.
Yeah,
He said 4 to 6 weeks.
it's been out.
We literally got the paper on like the 6th week, and then the second day.
It wasn't the application, but it was the paper.
Yeah.
All right,
I'm with Neil, the money will probably come sooner, but it's a different story getting the contractor there sooner.
Yeah.
right.
We're not gonna get them in the
They're
summer
gonna be
months.
booked.
Yes.
This
They will be
was an
booked.
October project anyway, wasn't it?
There's.
The first time, because it
there's-
rained all summer.
There's 1 week in
Yeah.
October that's beneficial, but
Right.
historically, the river's very high.
I thought they lowered it for,
1 week,
1 week.
1 week, it'll be
Yeah.
50 CFS,
It's not
and that could
advanced,
extend
yeah.
to 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but.
hey, Marty, is there any, in the narrative that I've done so far, I basically said this project is to complete the Whitewater Park by completing phases 2 and 3.
Mhm.
We didn't have to refer to it as phases anymore,
No,
It's in the last
but on the
phase.
plans it sort of does.
it calls out features,
Features, so features 1 and 2.
feature 1 and 2.
I think we're gonna combine that budget into one budget. When we can
Yeah.
get there.
That's fine.
Does feature one and
The
two,
budget might be broken up by feature too, or we could change the budget to match.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
does feature one and two include the slalom course?
Yeah.
Yes, the budget for the features includes the slalom course.
The slalom course is a feature.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's called out on the budget if you look at it as a
Yeah.
pilot channel.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah. It's the Thowway improvement.
What's a fallback? It's a fish thing, right?
It's the deep water channel. So any living river, meaning a river not altered by man, has a deep water channel. We don't have a deep water channel anymore because there's so much shit in the river.
So, the trestle bridge and the abutments, they're under,
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, most of
this
the time,
doesn't
yeah.
address that, does it?
They never address it, no.
No.
No, and there's always been a cost savings by having those two projects coincide with the same construction cycle.
Yeah, especially if they both have to be de-watered, I mean, it will already be done.
Yeah, if that's required
Yeah.
for the abutments.
Is that something we should pursue?
That
We're-
that
It's a
Project
hurry
is-
up DOT thing at this moment in
project's
time.
on its own timeline now.
Yeah. DOT's, slow, probably slower than others. So
Or has
yes,
the city committed their million?
we tentatively have, and then we're waiting for commitment of the 80%, which is the rest of it. And it's been through their committee level, now they're trying to find the money. So, and then we know they're slow. So, it takes forever. This isn't our first DOT grant.
Then McFarland Johnson, that has to go out to bid and all that crap.
Yes, so McFarland Johnson, we went out to bid for the engineer and they would do
Yeah.
the bid package. Yeah, we're not doing the bid package.
So the timing on that doesn't line up with the timing on the.
No, it won't,
So then it has to be de-watered twice.
probably. That's a bummer, but
Does that work?
it is what it is.
That's not in the way of the feature, well, I guess it's not, huh?
No, because it's
They-
in between, right?
I mean, I would imagine that the work on the abutments, granted, this is all hypothetical,
Right.
right? But the work on the abutments should be at the same time as the October drawdown, right? There's only two abutments that are in water most of the time. And then there's the abutment on shore, and then the third one, which is out of the water at most flows. Certainly not all the way down, but close.
Yeah.
And so you can de-water the sides pretty easily regardless of the flow of sandbags, not with a cofferdam.
But I think McFarland Johnson was talking about some sort of process that they could do while the water was running.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the extent of my knowledge on that. So, and we may not need to de-water for the abutment piece.
But this work, it looks like it's not gonna get done this building season. It's-
No, no,
Well, that's-
never hold your breath with DOT, you'll die. Okay, so back to meeting schedule, because we tangent again.
Sorry.
How do we feel about once a month? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, there again, if
Cranky.
we can do it, Judy, we can do it as needed. If something
Yeah.
comes up that says, hey, this group has to come in,
Well, yeah,
you know, so.
and we do that now, because sometimes we meet off
Right.
by week,
Right.
so. Better?
I would be in favor of that, but
I don't care. Do it as needed.
So why don't we just schedule one per month, like the third Thursday or whatever, Thursdays are still good? And then if we need something, we can do something in between.
Marty and Jim and I can meet at any time. It's not public.
This is.
Well, if I want to take another for beer, I'm not going.
Oh, yeah, just don't talk about business. And you guys don't have voting authority anyway, because this is, my advisory group, so it's not.
Well, that's the point.
Yes. All right, so are we good with that, like Thursday, and then, well, if we need to meet more often?
Yep.
and Seth would be happy with that decision?
I think so, yeah, he's, yeah.
I
I
have,
don't think he realized how much the Stanley was gonna take over.
I have a question for Seth, or for you, I guess.
Yeah.
You can-
Hold on,
Go ahead.
Is the next meeting then June 20th?
I don't know.
It's the third Thursday.
Well, if it is the third Thursday, then yes. Yep.
The RFP for traffic and parking.
Yes.
Which you was sent to me. Do you wanna do an RFP or an RFQ?
Probably does qualify for an RFQ, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
For engineering studies, yeah.
Yeah, we should do an RFQ.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you send me a standard
Yep,
RFQ that you're happy with,
yep.
format?
What that's gonna be first, Neil?
It's for the traffic and parking
Okay.
study.
Yep.
We
The
also,
what reason an RFQ makes sense is that you pick the top two and you let them write the scope,
Yeah.
as long as
Yeah.
it
yeah,
contains the minimum that you want.
yeah.
We
That
brought
makes
up parking
total
with
sense.
Brian Bozak.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's land.
That
brought
probably
it
didn't
up.
go well,
That
did it?
landed with a thud.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm trying to leave the meeting and he's going, let's talk about this.
Oh, we had it here, I figured, what the hell?
How'd that work out?
Yeah, man, they pissed him off before we leave.
Okay,
Jam.
shall we crappy. All right, anything else? Good. I feel like we don't have anything to apply for this time of year. It's always like during Neil's vacation.
Yes, he should be ready.
I always, depending on what HUD does, I mean, the next thing on my, we're applying for the redevelopment fund.
Yes.
And depending on the HUD thing, the next thing I was gonna do is put together an application for the feasibility study at the food co-op.
Yes.
Incidentally, I got, Brian, I
Yes.
talked to Brian about that. He was very enthusiastic
Yeah,
about that.
he thought for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely a proponent.
What is the latest with Northern Borders?
I have no
I
idea.
do not think-
I've let that slip through the.
Yeah, we should probably check that.
It made it right into the budget, but then there was
But
that section of the budget.
It was in the farm bill,
The farm bill.
Farm-
but they extended the farm bill with no amendments. So now we were told, it's a cycle off now, but
So we won't be eligible until next year.
yeah.
If they pass it.
yeah.
And what's, I forget, when is the next round of LWCF closes right now? Right, it's closing soon?
No, the
No.
LWCF is November, December.
No, yes, yeah.
When is closing? I think, didn't they,
No, they should be announcing shortly.
They announced that
From
the
last
the
December.
approvals are starting to wash.
Yeah,
Grant round 35 is open for funding consideration. Local governments may submit completed intent to apply forms
yeah.
to the Bureau of Community Recreation before 4 p.m. on June 7th.
Oh, yeah, we have to do LOI. And then the applications in the fall.
June 7th is very soon.
Yes.
That's what they need, is the LOI.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I work with Neil on a
For the land,
yes for the pump track and the
Yeah.
climbing walls?
and I've already prepped them for that, and they're excited about that.
We might not be. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we showed them.
We did.
It's June 7th, huh?
It's June 7th. Yeah.
And what is the applications due?
It's gonna be the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because I got
There's a-
council approval in December last year.
This little write-up doesn't say.
Yeah,
We submitted round 34 on December 15th.
That's right.
Yes, we did. Yeah, and we were invited to apply in what, September-ish, right?
Tell me what the LOI is, starting, read the LOI thing.
I'm downloading the form.
I remember, we did an LOI last June.
Yeah, we do them.
I gotta
We've
put
done
these
them.
tickets.
Eligible
I'm gonna put
project
these
sponsors
tickets
that
on my
intend to
calendar.
apply under grant round 35 must complete this form and submit it to the dancer before June 7th. The information provided within will be evaluated for program eligibility.
Whoa.
Project name, project type being development, acquisition, engineering, or, excuse me, development, acquisition, or combination.
Yeah,
Okay, we better get on that this week, next
yeah, we
week.
gotta do that. Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that up.
Thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
So are you gonna focus on the pump track and climbing walls, or just the pump track,
Camping sites?
camping sites?
I met with Chief Foss this week, and we walked out there, and I think we have a path forward on the camping, but I think after we submit the LOI, anything we can do after might be eligible match, so I think we should write it as if it's camping, pump track, and maybe climbing wall.
Okay.
Do you wanna max it out?
I don't think we'll have enough match, but, the LOI, we can
Okay.
take our best guess, it's not concrete.
Yeah,
Who's the applicant, NCP or the city?
City.
City.
City, it's only cities, right, cause it's 6F.
So after we get invited to apply is when I do the resolution for the council. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And Judy informed me that I'm doing a dog and pony show with LWCF in June, which will be great, cause it will be
So the
submitted.
big wigs from Atlanta are coming to New Hampshire from the National Park Service.
Yeah.
And this particular big wig is the one that approved the funding for the Whitewater Park.
Sweet.
So, Eric Feldbaum called me and said, we'd like to bring this person up to Franklin, to show off both Daniel Park and the Whitewater feature. So,
Sweet.
I'm in court that day, so, Marty's gonna do it.
Could you, give us details
It's
as they develop, because we should really all show for that.
You wanna show up for that?
Damn right.
Okay. All right, so I will do that.
Is this your opportunity?
Of course.
They're showing off projects in New Hampshire. There's a few. There's us, Concord, Keene, and one other community that they're showing off over 2 days with this person.
I don't have any of the details, I just have like a placeholder.
I will send it to you.
What's the date?
The 17th.
17th.
What are they, National Park Service?
Yeah.
And
That's on my calendar.
Crystal's gonna be there as well because they're going to Daniel. Okay? Perfect. Anything else? Cool.
So,
We're all set then. Thank you, guys. Wow. Fastest meeting ever.
gee, in an hour.
We can do it.
We'll blame Seth. She's the one that gets up all the time.
I'm gonna tell them that when we get back to the office.
No, don't do that.
Alright, thanks, guys.
I was waiting for them to adjourn.
Gee, there was a lot of activity at the
See sign language.
At the what?
at the wig yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was community surf night.
What?
Community surf night.
Community surf night.
Was that the first time
Yeah.
in this season?
Technically, we had some like informal ones, but we didn't really publish anything.
Okay,
Can you remind me to turn this back to
we don't.
May I use the lady
Good.
term?
Good.
Are you guys gonna adjourn? Do you ever
We
adjourn?
did.
I didn't hear the vote.
Oh, we
We
don't.
don't vote.
Oh, you don't vote?
We're in for
For adjournment.
public vote.
Oh.